So got home from seeing The Hobbit. What did Phil say? Called it Battle of the 12 Days of Christmas or something like that. Battle of the Five Armies. And then, of course, he had asked me why there were five armies and what were the five armies and why all five of them were fighting. And were they fighting all at once or each, like, were they ganged together? Anyway, pretty much what it was. It's like a bunch of a lot of shit happening. Anyway, yeah, I definitely enjoyed this one, mainly because how ridiculous it got at one point. It got ridiculous to the point where, like, I would turn and be like, this was not in the book. It would just be like, that's not in the book, I swear to God. So in the book, it's like the battle itself is like 3 pages, and then like two paragraphs of like a recap kind of thing. But we were just laughing at it. It's just like the first one, I was like, oh, it was like a third of the book. Cool, I get it. Yada yada. The second one, like, it kind of did get that whole long and drawn out kind of thing, and I was kind of annoyed because it's like I'm there to see like hobbits and barrels and smog and all that stuff and then I got it, but then I also got like a bullshit love story that came out of nowhere, and it kind of annoyed the fuck out of me. We enjoyed it. There's one part where like one of the big fucking monster guys were like had like a fucking boulder on a chain, and like Phil was like, that's very God of War, and then it was just like it got so ridiculous. Like the fact that like when we saw the trailer and like fucking Lee Pace is on a fucking moose. Like, I was like, no. Like, no way. And I remember just going like, I was like on my computer and I just like looked over and I was like, moose? Like, where the fuck is on a moose? Although you see the moose doing some cool moose action. But for fuck's sakes, a fucking moose. Like, what the hell? There are a few parts, especially in this movie, where they kind of brought back some of the minor score, like a minor parts of the score they brought back. Some of the music from, Lord of the Rings, like that. I call it the Hobbit and Shire music. It's like whenever something happy happens and it's talking about the Shire, and it's like that. It's the flute part where it's like doo doo, like that kind, and it gets me kind of emotional. Obviously, I'm a very huge Tolkien fan. You can see that, yeah. Lord of the Rings means a lot to me. That series, like that book means a lot to me, a little more than The Hobbit, and so to hear that, it's like, oh, brought me back to when those movies came out, which is so weird to think, like, that was 10 years ago, and, like, holy shit, the movie ending, and then, of course, hearing Billy Boyd sing, and, I was just sitting there, like, keep it together. It's like, keep it together, keep it together. The second thing was, like, we didn't get to go see it at our usual theater, where we see our lovely IMAX 3D and all that fun stuff. We had to go see, we call it fake IMAX, which is at, like, another theater, where the IMAX screen is just big, it's kind of louder. It's not IMAX as in, like, hey, look, the screen is 2 stories high, and, you get reserved seating, and the sound is amazing, and the people at the movie theater practically know you because you're there so goddamn often. But we saw it was fine. At times it was a little bit loud, especially with some of the trailers, but other than that, yeah, it was also, like I said previously with the other 2 movies and all that stuff, like, the 3D was really not necessary. The IMAX part was great. It's just, and especially in this movie, like, around the beginning, there was a lot of, like, this, like, a lot of, like, whip pan, like, that happening, and with 3D, and you're just kind of like, I just did it. So I ended up like, well, because I am already so close to the screen, take off my glasses, just put on 3D. It was still kind of a bit much, so I watched a good majority of the movie just completely, like, without glasses, without 3D, yada yada, because it's like, unless there were some parts where, like, it wasn't, like, the slightly fuzziness to it, it went, like, full retard, you know what I mean? It went, like, full, like, blur, like, then I put on the 3D, But really, it was just mainly because it was a lot of, like, that happening, and, with, like, a battle scene, because you're moving a lot and all that, and editing and cutting and all that stuff, like, to do 3D, it gets really jarring, and you're kind of like, There are parts, like I said, they were so funny, especially, like, around, like, the battles and all that stuff, and how crazy it got, and, like, a dwarf on a pig, and all that, like, and then like, the fucking, was it earthworms? Oh, fuck, I completely... Anyway, it came out, and we just... It just... I don't want to obviously give out too much spoilers, or whatever, not unlike I usually do. But like I said, like it got to a point where we just couldn't stop laughing. It got like it passed the like the what part and or like the stupid, and it just became just like hilarious. We were making jokes about like with the elves about like how like pretty and straight their hair is, and the best part was like when Thranduil was like, you know, fighting, and of course elves like they fight like so like the motions are so fluid, and like they're so, you know, calculated, all like it's beautiful. And when he was doing that, Phil was like, well, of course he has to fight so gracefully, you know. And of course they, and again, just like in the previous movie, they show like freaking, you know, Legolas like being perfect and like ridiculously perfect. There's one part where it became a video game, and you know how like let's like even like God of War or something, like you're like, you know, you're playing, and then all of a sudden like the ground gives away, and you have to like jump, double jump. You have to always, and you tend to forget to double jump the last part, and you die, and you have to do that part over and over again. That happened in the movie when it was just like boom, it was like slow motion, like boom, 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 and we were just cracking up. And then the last one, I was like, and I just like grabbed Phil, and I was like, double jump, double jump. It's like, yeah, it's just fucking stupid. It's funny because then there's like at the end, like this is like, I can't be here anymore. I'm gonna go. And the dad was like, go to the north, to the Dunedain, you know, where the son of that's see. There goes my Tolkien cred. Anyway, but pretty much they were hinting at freaking Aragorn, but they never said his name. And I'm just grabbing Phil like, you're gonna say it. They're like, he's a ranger, known as Strider, you know. And I was just kind of like, fuck you for not saying his name. But it's one of those things where you're just like, huh, you know. But yeah, like towards the end when it got like I said, ridiculously nostalgic for Fellowship of the Ring and all that stuff, I was just like, you know, just I mean those memories just come back, you know, all that fun stuff. Sorry, there was one part where it was just like I felt that Thorin was high because he was obviously just kind of like he was starting to lose it, but it was just seemed like he was high because he's like in inside the mountain cave thing, and he was just kind of like, the floor is gold and I'm sinking in like quicksand, and you're like, dude, you need to lay off some of that gold, you know. It's like the Scrooge McDuck fortune. Anyway, alright, yeah, so let me talk about the trailer. So, the first one is that, I think it's coming out soon, it's directed by Angelina Jolie, the whole, like, you know, based on a true story kind of shit, and it's unbroken about the American pilots that were in Japan, and then they kind of tortured them. I don't know, being Asian, I'm like, you really weren't tortured, you're more like disciplined. You know, like that's how we're treated, you know, we're smacked across the face all the time because we have to be perfect, and we do anything wrong, we're considered a failure, you know, so I don't know. After that, it was the Colin Firth movie, the Kingsman one, which looks really interesting. I think, like, the trailer, we saw a trailer, like, earlier this year, like, or something like that, where we're like, but it looks pretty cool, like seeing Colin Firth like kick ass. It's awesome, and like Sam Jackson in it. So it seemed like Sam Jackson's putting together like a British, um, like Avengers team, which is fine because it's Sam Jackson anything, and he's cursing, so fine. Then there was the Terminator. Well, and I haven't seen the Terminator trailer, and okay, excuse me. Anyway, and so it was funny because it like it's the whole like it comes full circle because with Salvation it's like, all right, you know, Kyle Reese, we found Kyle Reese, so of course now he's older, and then this is the part where we send you back to future back to the past for the whole thing to like for it to you know, this whole thing to have its closure. But it's like, oh, he goes back into the past and things have changed, and Schwarzenegger is in it, and he has to fight his past self, and they show the old Terminator, which is literally 80s like Schwarzenegger, and that's when I lost it. I just grabbed Phil. I was like, we have to see this. He has to fight his past self, you know. And we're like, all right, it's ridiculous. And because of that, and fucking what's her name, Amelia Clark, Daenerys, is in it. Pretty good American accent, so kudos to you. After that it's the Moby Dick movie starring Chris Thor Hemsworth. That's fine. And it's not even called Moby Dick. It's called like In the Heart of the Sea or some weird shit like that. Like, why not call it Moby Dick? You mention it in the trailer, like with that voice, like yeah. Anyway, then they did the Star Wars teaser trailer, which was actually a lot of fun seeing it on a big screen like that. And the audience was, because since you're going to see The Hobbit, or all pretty damn nerdy, so everyone was all like, you could hear them kind of being giddy about it, you know, and of course, you know, it's fucking Star Wars. It's to the point now where it's just like, fuck it, it's Star Wars. You know, like, hey, it's, yeah. After that is Jurassic World. Yay. It looks like, oh yeah, back to the Star Wars thing for a second. That trailer was actually in 3D, and actually looks pretty good in 3D. But again, it could just be the trailer. We all know how that can go. Anyway, so then with Jurassic World, that's also in 3D, and I'm just like, oh my god, you know. And you can't help just laugh because it's like, fuck it, Chris Pratt's in it, awesome, and it's still one of the things like, why did you think it was a good idea to genetically like fuck with dinosaurs? Like, you know, we'll just do that. That's fine. You know, could you at least like fuck with it more to make it like a miniature dinosaur instead of like, you know, a fuck tall kind of thing? Like, you know, yeah, and then there was the Jupiter movie that we saw a trailer for like forever ago that has Meg in it and Mila Kunis, Channing Tatum, and what's his name? Who was, oh my god, I forgot his name. But he was in Les Mis and he played Stephen Hawking and yada yada. So he's in it, and it's like, it's a weird. I don't understand what's going on with that movie. Phil was like, you didn't even try because you casted those two as your lead. I was like, shit. Yeah, then there was like a Robert Zemeckis movie, and like it starts with like a shot at the bottom of a building, and I immediately was like, that's one of the World Trade Towers. I'm not okay with this. I was like, can we not do this, you know? Then of course it's zooming up to the building, and then like words are coming down, and I see Robert Zemeckis, and I'm like, you know, and I don't hate Robert Zemeckis, I'm just getting tired of just, oh fuck. So it keeps zooming up like the people, blah 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 blah, and it's Joseph Gordon-Levitt with a really bad haircut, and it looks like he's about to like kill himself and yada yada. And he stands like at the edge, and again it's in 3D, so it's supposed to like kind of spook you a bit, and it's blah blah blah. It's the thing where, you know, that French guy, I think it was French, I don't know, tightrope walker guy walked across the, you know, from one tower to another, and it was a huge thing, obviously, because he did it without a net. So so apparently this warranted a huge movie about it, because obviously it deals with the Twin Towers, and, you know, people just love to make money off of horrible tragedies, you know, because even though that is not a tragedy itself, the fact that the place and will make people you know, it's that whole shit. But anyway, The Hobbit, Battle of the Five Armies, Battle of the 12 Days of Christmas. Yeah, it's fun. Like I said, I feel like it's more of a matinee. Like it's good to like have you and your friends just like laugh at again, because the battle scene, the battle itself, the whole like majority of the movie, it's funny. You know, like I said, like because it being split into three movies and all that fucking shit, just I don't know. Peter Jackson should just kind of take a break from filmmaking for a bit, maybe like 5 years before he comes out with something else, and yeah, just do that, you know, like just take some time before you do your other movie, just because you have enough money, especially mine, so you know what, just chill, and you're still raking in the dough. So anyway, I'm tired. Jeffree Star cosmetic lipstick. It stays on all day. Anyway.